Alright, so out here I figured I'd give y'all a run through and show you all the stuff that I grabbed. And once again, I don't cash out and just buy this stuff in bulk all the time. I literally buy it piece by piece and hold on to it until I'm ready to do the job. So so my old lady, she made me some boba. Yeah, I don't know if y'all know what it is. You do. If you don't, you don't. But yeah. Okay, so here we are. I got my ball joint press, which is what I've been using for years when it comes to taking out like universal joints and whatnot. Got my impact. No, I'm not rich. I just have a snap-on because a bunch of friends got together, including RVT Built. Y'all know him, and they all chipped in and got me this impact gun, man. Changed my freaking life. And of course the wire roll we're using to knock all of the rust scale off of this. I mean, it's kind of a fast forward, but you can see I've already done this one, and this one I still have to do. And of course the WD-40 help out with the rust to help break some of the stuff loose, because these clips, I'm going to have to use the WD-40 to get that clip out, get the needle noses, pull on it, squeeze it together, and yank that thing out of there. Also, here's the joints, the spicers. Now you're going to have two joints that are going to be the same, and you're going to have two, well, you're going to have two the same, and one of them is going to be different from the other two. So here's the part number for the one. This is the one that goes into the rear differential, because this one here has the design where these two here are going to press into the actual drive shaft, and then these two are the ones that have the clips on the outside, and these clips are what's going to center this thing into your rear differential. And here's the part number here for the other two that are pretty much going to be oh Jesus. So this one, you're going to have one that goes on this end that connects to the front drive shaft, and then you're going to have the one that actually goes into the transmission. I ordered one of these, once again, Spicer part number. It's not here yet. I definitely could have cleaned this up. I'm not going to throw it away, but I'm going to replace it and put a new one on. All right, knew it wasn't gonna be that easy. I need to give me a flathead and try to start prying this thing first. This thing's been seized in here for who knows how long. All right, so this one I was able to actually just squeeze and call it a day, and it's coming in. But I still have to get a flathead to actually pull it out. Let's check this other one. Nope, not budging. Let's check this one. Nope. I think I got one more to try. Nope. Okay, so we got two that actually popped out or broke loose without having to get a screwdriver and prying it from the beginning. So just going to get these out. All right, so I got two out. This one's out. That one's out. So I got these two left. And I mean, I'm not really trying to reuse these, so truthfully, I don't have to have much grace getting them out. There we go. All right, I try to do this so that way it was at an angle where you guys could actually see me popping it out, but it's not much to it. It's just fighting the rust and actually just peeling this thing out of here. All right, so this is where we are right now. This is the end. I flipped it. This is the end that goes into the rear diff slip yoke. Now, I fought a lot of rust with my truck, so I had a feeling that this end was going to give me the hardest time, even though none of these U-joints are actually bad. They move pretty good. There was a lot of rust back there. So this broke. So now, Getting the rest of this out is definitely going to be a challenge, and I have to get this one out on this side, and I still have the one on the bottom side to get out. But as you can see here, this is the same thing I was talking about before, where this end that goes into the slip yoke of the rear diff has the clips on it on each side that helps center it. So this is the only end that gets that type of U-joint. All right, so I'm actually going to try to bully this thing out. I got my clamp on. The goal is to try to press on this some, and maybe it will relieve the pressure off of the piece of ring that's still stuck in here. And then literally take the clamp off, flip it, and vice versa. Press this way to try to get the pressure off of this piece and get it out. So I'm literally just like pulling things out of my behind here. Hopefully that gave me some wiggle room here to try to pop this piece that's stuck in here out. Nope. So I'll keep trying. All right, so check this out. Trying to bully this thing out. I use the C-clamp and press it in and push in this way. So now I'm not sure if you can see the shadow. There's some clearance here now, so I think I can work with that. So now I'm gonna spray some more PB Blast in here and get like a hammer, flathead, something to try to punch this down to break it loose and then get it out of there. Let's see if that works. Okay, I hate this thing. This was wild. So, like I said, I used a C-clamp to pretty much push and bully it until the end of the cap on the U-joint broke. When it did broke, it pushed out some more, giving me more clearance over here so that I can mess with this piece here. So now, once I get this out, anyway, I'm gonna get that out. Once I get that out, then I'm gonna go on this side and push it the opposite way to work on the broken piece on this side. Okay, so all the rest of them are out. This is the last one to get out. But I figured I'd at least show you, even though it's pretty simple, of how these things come off. So I'm gonna get this joint off first. So I'm gonna come in from the bottom. Boom. Now it's time to hit it. Ooh, that kind of shattered. It's probably brittle because it's old. Yep, so that one is pushed in. Wow, look at that. Yep, figured it'd be a little difficult, but now it's time for me to push it the other way. All right, so the whole plan with this thing is, I've seen another guy do it. I got to take this jaw puller from Harbor Freight, cheapy deepy. It was like 20 bucks. And pretty much to pull this gear off. So yours may be more damaged than mine. Mine wasn't too bad. Actually, it was kind of in great condition, but this is the rubber part that pretty much absorbs the shock when the drive shaft is spinning. I literally just got a razor and just cut it off. So that got rid of that. Once I got that off, Zara! So once I got that off, now I'm going to use the jaw puller. Zara, yes, hold on. So I got to use the jaw puller to pull it off, but in order to do that and not mess up the tool, even though it's cheap, I got to put some anti-seize on the threads. Same way you do if you had like a, when a coilover and whatnot, you're not trying to gall up the threads and then it's useless. So I'm going to put some anti-seize, grease, whatever you got on the threads. Milkshake, can you not do that? Put it on the thread so it doesn't screw up. And once I do that, I'm going to get it in position up top and get these under the hub and pretty much just pull it out. It's kind of hard to do right now, so I'll get back to y'all once I actually have it in position. All right, you can walk up. And what sucks is I'm trying to spin it, but as I'm spinning it, the bearing itself is moving, so I have to hold it with my hand and try to get it to spin. which is annoying.
Still recording?
I actually think that might have been the sound of it breaking free.
I think that it's down the bottom. I think
Alright, so it's actually breaking free now after trying to get the, so this goes to show that even though it's beepy, it definitely does the job. Yeah, so I'm just gonna keep turning until it comes up, and it shouldn't be too much tension on it now. Now this actually bypassed. It's alright, and this whole thing is gonna come off. Yeah, just like down here, pretty much. I would gladly
pay money to get
alright, it's free. It's freaking off. Okay, so I already kind of screwed myself here a bit. I took this apart and separated the front portion of the drive shaft from the rear. This is the rear, which is the longer section. This actually goes onto the front shaft, and this here goes all the way down until you get to the rear differential. Now, these things work, I want to say, like it pretty much is in sync. When they're balanced, the front and the rear shaft are balanced together, so that way it gets, you know, as true as it gets when it comes to spinning at those high RPMs. But the one thing that I did kind of screw up here is when I took this apart, I didn't actually look to see if there was any marks on the old one that actually lets you know where to line it up. So sometimes what you would see is you would see like markings on these things that kind of mark up with a spot here along with the spot on the other drive shaft, so that way you knew to line those lines up and it would spin true, no issues. But we're going to do the best we can. I mean, honestly, I really should get this rebalanced in the first place, but I'm trying to kind of get it moving right now, and it's not going to be super detrimental because it wasn't a huge problem when I took it out in the first place. But what we're going to do now, I'm going to get my Milwaukee here with the wire wheel, and I'm going to knock off all of this scale as best I can and hit it with some roll bar and chassis paint, and begin the process of actually taking these old U-joints out and kind of giving it my own little rebuild. All right, so you can definitely see the difference here, and where I'm knocking off the scale and where the scale still is. So I'm gonna just keep going all along the whole thing and knocking it down. So it'll be decent enough for pretty much my use as of right now, until I can actually take it over to a shop and have them do it. The guy that did my other drive shaft, I mean, he's like MIA. The man just like kind of closed up shop and left. And I do have kind of like a ding here. Hopefully that's not a huge problem, but I guess we'll see. So I'm gonna get back to doing this and try not to bore you guys to death, and I'm gonna do the same thing to the next one. But we'll get back to you when it's all sanded down. Okay, so switched it up here. Now we're getting back to the rear end of the two-piece drive shaft, and one thing I wanted to kind of let you guys know to remember is that try to think of a landmark, or rather use tape, whatever you do, to remember which end went where. So I already made the mistake when I separated the rear drive shaft from the front drive shaft. I didn't mark in line some sort of a line, so I was lining this up the same way that it should have been, the same way that it was when I took it out. because now I run the risk of putting this in and installing it, and it won't be in phase. It could be out of phase. I could just take this thing to a drive shaft shop, have them balance it, which I might, I don't know, but just because I screwed up. Or I'll throw it in, see what happens, and then go from there. But what I did was, on my particular drive shaft, this end here, this is pretty much like a balance weight that was welded on. This one is bigger than this one. So I said to myself, okay, this one here, the smaller one, this is the end that goes to the rear differential, the rear diff yoke. This one up here is the one that gets the other end that slides in to the front drive shaft. So I know when I go to put this thing back together and put the U-joint in here, I know the other end that goes and connects to the front drive shaft goes on this end. So at least I get that right, because who knows what will happen if I took this, flipped it, and did the vice versa. That would probably really throw me out of whack. But just sprayed this thing down with some brake clean, and already wire rolled this one. This is the first one I scaled down, and just going to hit this one with a coat of paint as well. All right, so here it is, next day. I knocked the scale off of this one. Already did the scale, as you guys saw on the other one, the back end. But yeah, knocked the scale off, cleaned up down here some. I am going to run a wire brush through here just to clean up the surface in here a bit with some penetrating oil. And so let's get down to this end. Now, after you guys saw me pull it off with the jaw, you could actually use a bearing separator as well. I saw a video on that. I wasn't too sure until recently, but I could have went that route too. But yeah, so the jaw puller did the job, pulled it off, and now I cleaned up this surface a bit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a scuff pad pretty much with nothing too abrasive. Like, I'm not going to use any of these wire wheels. That would be insane. But going to use some more penetrating oil, spray it on, and pretty much just rough up the surface just to clean it up here, the area that the bearing is going to be riding on, so that when I do press it on. Plus, I'll use some oil and whatnot. Also, what I want to do is paint this surface. I'm going to tape this up with some masking tape, blue tape, whatever, and paint this with the roll bar chassis paint on the inside, because I'm not going to be able to paint that once this bearing is actually pressed on. Speaking of the bearing, here's the new one here. Now, one thing I did do, every now and then I do smart things. I looked at the old one when I pulled it off, and from what the old one looks like, it's the same orientation. You can see on this side, it's kind of like a flat flap sticking out, protruding. That doesn't exist on the other side. The other side is like a smooth bulge. This back portion is actually what goes on first. And this shield here is what protects it. I'm not sure what other application this is for, but it does come with this. And this was on the same backside here, protecting it. So mine already factory pretty much has that. And I tried to see if some sort of way it'll go on and whatnot, but no, I don't think that's supposed to be that way. Dude, this is nuts. Look at that. Just off of using that freaking scuff pad, man, and the penetrating oil, this is an amazing finish compared to what it was, man. Even got down here closer, and I probably could even get this out, but I just wanted to make sure that this service was good, so that way the bearing has something clean to, you know, slide down onto it, especially with the help of a little grease. Sprayed the rest of this thing down with the acetone. Just going to give it a quick wipe, and then spray it with the roll bar chassis paint. Going to tape this over the tape, like I said, hit it, let it dry, and then start driving that bearing on. Okay, so the metal pipe I got didn't work out. I thought I saw somebody actually use PVC. I'm not sure, but I'll give it a shot, because PVC is pretty rigid. It's no joke. But anyway, what I did was I just put this on top of the first drive shaft that goes into the transmission, just to see from those blue splines back to where the bearing goes, and see how much coverage I needed in order to cover that. So this is 1.5 inch PVC pipe, Charlotte pipe. Not sure what that means, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut along this tape line so that it's as flat as possible. It doesn't look super flat, but I mean, it'll give me a better cut than if I just freestyled it. Down here, it was already not true, as in when you buy it, because they literally just chop it down anyway. So I'm going to trim that down too. And then once I trim it down and just pretty much have this piece here, I'm going to take a cap that comes with it, put the cap on one end, and then the opposite end is going to go into the bearing, and then go from there. And I also have a dead blow hammer that I'm using to hit this thing, because I'm quite sure if I hit it with like a big sledge or something gnarly in metal, it probably would destroy it. But either way, I could even, you know, get a piece of wood, put it on top, whack it a few times with that, and that would do the job too, in case this doesn't work out. Okay, so got this thing looking way better than it did. Way better. Scales gone, shafts is clean, back there is painted, looking good, man. So now, I mean, it did drop in the kitchen a little bit, so I gotta give it a little quick squirt there. But truthfully, I mean, this was just a rough coating anyway, because I'm going to have to use the C-clamps to like put this stuff in. I know I'm going to scratch it, but at least if the bulk of it is out of the way, then I'm good to go. So now finally it's time to start putting on the new stuff. So all of this old carnage is removed, and we're going to get our first piece on. And like I said, this one's going toward the back end. Going to get some grease, put the grease on the area that it does go on to, put a little bit in here, get it on and in position, and take my little tool and hope it works. Okay, so I put a little bit on the front part of the drive shaft that this is going to be going on to. I'm not going super crazy. I just gave the inside kind of like a light film. But what I am doing, just to be on the safe side, I'm taking, I mean, this could be doing absolutely nothing, but I'm taking some grease and I'm trying to get it in the crease and push it into the space where the actual bearings are. I mean, they did that because out of the pack it was pretty greasy, but I'm just running a little bit through because this is the backside that the shield on the drive shaft is kind of going to be covering up. So maybe it'll help maintain some of this stuff. I don't know. Okay, so that's it. I'm not going to go too wild with it. I'll kind of leave it at that. And here's the shaft here. Like I said, I got some on this area. I'm just going to get it down and start tapping it on. Okay. Let's just hope that this PVC is enough to actually get it tapped and get it to start making its way down. Wow. That's working. That's working. All right, dudes, PVC for the win. It's plastic, not gonna gall anything up super crazy, and it works. All right, I think that might be it. So the one thing that I will say is kind of like with metal and metal, you can kind of feel the difference and hear like a difference in the pitch that the steel makes when you're bottomed out. I believe I just felt it, but it's a different sensation because I'm using a dead blow, not an actual like metal hammer or mallet. Okay, yeah, I would say that that's it. I'm gonna call that done because now the drive shaft is jumping off of the cardboard that's on the ground. So I think this is in. Moves smoothly, smoother than the one that was on here from the factory. Of course, because that thing's done ran its course. You know, it is what it is, but we're on. All right, this is probably a habit I have of trying to turn poop into gold. But truthfully, I probably didn't even have to paint this, but I did. This was actually from the factory. This itself was the first thing down on this shaft. All it is just like a kind of a flared washer, I guess you can call it, however you want to say it. But I definitely think that this is key because on the back end of this side, you see that this thing has the shield on the back end that kind of protects anything from getting directly in there. This side doesn't have that, but this is what was there. So I think when this goes on, this extra lip on this side is going to stop things from getting into here too easy. So I'm going to put it back in just like I found it. I'm probably going to tear up this super sweet paint job I did by tapping it on, but you know, whatever. I can always touch it up later. Okay, so just to give you guys a closer look, this is how much, I guess you could say, exposed part of the shaft is left. That's the same diameter as the bearing. So I think that this spacer is going to eat up the rest of that. So let's see. There we go. Butter. Not yet. That's it. It's bottomed out. There it is. And that actually puts it flush with the remainder of that surface that was ready. So that's good. Carrier bearing, done. Just got to wipe this all down and start assembling the rest. But wow, man. Starting to come along. Okay, so here's the Spicer slip yoke that goes inside the transmission. Brand new out of the box. Well, I mean, it wasn't black. I painted it black there to kind of match everything else and to protect it because the raw metal was probably going to get rusty or whatever. So I figured I'd prolong the process. But anyway, here's the part number for the one for this particular application. And that's it. So now, next step, we have the other Spicer. This is the U-joint, and this is one of the U-joints that there's actually two of in this process. You're going to get the same part number twice, pretty much. And then there's one U-joint that's going to be different from the other two. But anyway, again, here's the part number for this one. This is the one that's going to go inside of this slip yoke, and the other end is going to connect to the front part of the drive shaft, the one that we just tapped on the center bearing onto. The center carrier bearing, that thingy. This is going to go on that one. Okay, so pop one of the ends off just so I can start trying to get it in place. And here we are with the U-joint. And what I'm going to do is try to feed the naked end without a cap through so I can get this kind of down in, or at least start it like so. So now that's kind of pretty much in position. So when I do start pressing, it'll slide in. Now, as far as the opposite end goes, this is where I start getting this cap back on from the outside. So now, that one's in place on this side, covering up the naked one. And this one is just pretty much sitting here until I actually start pressing it in. But once I press it in, then this one's going to be in position, and I can go to attach it onto the other end of the drive shaft. Okay, so pretty important. So when I first saw this, I was like, okay, for whatever reason, this kit comes with multiple sets, 3 sets of these washers. Now, looking at them, I'm going to try to separate this one here. Okay, that worked out. That means something else isn't going to work out. But anyway, you got the ones here that kind of looks like a darker, like a kind of like an ashy color. You got this one, I want to say it's kind of like a greenish, but it's probably not green, something else. And this one that's like a bronze. So I'm just going to kind of take a guess here that they all should be the same. Now, one thing I will say is, looking at this, they give you 2 separate, I guess, diagrams. One of them, the letter A is on all of them. One of them, A is across from each other, B is across from each other, which is kind of leading me to think that certain applications, it depends. It requires different thicknesses. So if I'm not mistaken, by looking at these, some of these are thicker than others. Some of them are thinner than others. So, I'm gonna just take a shot in the dark and pick one. Okay, so I think I'm gonna just start off with the bronze. Start off with the bronze and go from there. And the whole point that I'm pulling these out now is so I can get one in place that's kind of going to help serve as the stopping point for the U-joint once I do press it in. So if I get this in place, then once I do start pressing it, this clip is going to stop it. I'll show you what I mean. Oh shoot, no, it was me. It popped right in. Okay, so that's done. That's in place. So now I'm gonna get the tool, push it through, and that should stop it. But I'm not gonna go ham with this thing. I'm just gonna press and watch to be careful. Okay, smooth, going in. Okay, so it looked like my hunch was kind of right. It did stop, but what was I gonna say? The way I kind of guessed it was pretty much by looking over here and seeing that I was able to see the channel on the inside. So as long as I have enough space to get that clip in there, I think I'm good to go. So I'm gonna get this clip in here and go from there. All right, so these things are already pre-lubed. They even says it on the packaging, do not lube them. So yeah, just pressing it in, and that's that. So the one thing else I'm gonna do is, what was I gonna say? Just to try to make sure that it's centered, and other than making sure that it's centered, that'll be it. So it'll be time to put it on the other one. And I always did feel weird, the fact that like when it comes to moving this, it feels like I kind of got to use a little too much force, which is another reason why I'm kind of going to probably press back the other way a little bit. But these brand new, when they are installed, do have a bit of resistance. Not a whole lot, but some. It's not supposed to be super floppy. Okay, so here we are on this fresh looking unit now. So now this will probably start to make some sense. But same setup over here. Got a clip in on this side, and I'm gonna press from that side, get it in place, get the clip in, and pretty much this whole front portion of the drive shaft that goes into the transmission, this will be completely rebuilt, everything touched, and this half is good to go. Okay, so this is that back end of the drive shaft I was talking about that goes into the rear diff yoke, and this is the one that has the one different part number right here. I'm probably gonna put it in freaking what's that called, in the description anyway, but like I said, this is the one that is different than the other two, and that's because this one on two ends of it is just smooth, just like the other ones. That's the one that has the clips that go on the outside to hold it from going back and forth, just like the other ones. Difference is this one also has two that has slots and ridges in it, and these slots and ridges is what the let's see here, that's what these clips go into, and these clips just slide onto the outside, and that's what helps center this U-joint inside of the rear diff yoke. So just going to clean it up. Once again, got my scuff pad here and some penetrating oil, and just going to go in the inside. All right, so now I got that white pretty decent. I'm gonna just go behind it, and this time we're gonna go with the wire brush. Now the reason I'm gonna go with this wire brush is because the clips that hold this thing in, that actually pop into the sides here that you saw me use earlier, I just want to make sure that the channel that they sit into, I can get as much debris out of that as possible. I could use a pick, but I've been using this and it's been working pretty decent, so I'm gonna do the same thing again. All right, just gonna wipe this out and start pressing it in. All right, so pop this cap off, and here's the top part of it, and gonna try to see if I can do what I did before and get it up in there like that. I don't think so, because it's hitting down here, even though that's how I got it out. So I have to do what I did with the other one, and that's just pop both sides off. Yep, alright, so both sides off. Gonna have to feed one through, down here at the bottom, push it in. And get this one in there, or you know what, actually bottom up first. Drop in. And take this one from the top side. Get this started. Alright. That actually pushed in some. And then time to clamp down. Alright. Make sure that this other part is straight. Alright, so this one's pressed in enough for me to actually get the C in that channel, that clip. Wow, that was quick. Alright, so same thing here. Dang it. Boom, that's definitely home for sure. And this one, like I thought, wasn't per se. It was partially in there, but you see it's kind of popping out here. I gotta press down on here to get this to go in enough to really seat in that channel. Well, that's in. So next thing is just pressing this one in. This is the front slip yoke. For Zara, you're just talking just to talk because I'm talking. This is the slip yoke for the rear portion of the drive shaft, the longest part. I just reconditioned it, wire wheeled it. This one was fine. Painted it, and gonna press this one in too. Okay, so here is actually the center support. This might be an odd sight for you because this thing doesn't really, I mean, it comes out of the vehicle, but it's not something that you can just unbolt. This actually had like rivets in the frame that I had to actually take out. If you wanted to see how I did that when I did the one-piece drive shaft video, that's the one where you'll see how you can actually get this thing out. If you're never converting to a two-piece, I'm sorry, to a one-piece, then you don't even need to know how to take this thing out. But because I already have it out and I'm getting ready to put the two-piece in, I might as well take it, hit it with the wire wheel, clean it up, and hit this with some paint too, so that way it's it matches up with the drive shaft itself. So just gonna get all the scale off here I can, and even have to do the other side. This thing was coated at some point by whoever. This rubber coating is definitely going to give me a problem, so I'm just going to do what I can and go from there. just gonna do this side. You guys aren't gonna be able to see me get this here on camera. And then flip it over and start this horrible crap. Okay, so this thing cleaned up a lot better than I thought it was, man. Definitely cleaned up a lot better than I thought it was. Now, I ran out, which is why you see the middle isn't touched. Ran out of this stuff, but just went to the store, grabbed some more. This is definitely like the quick go-to when I need it, cleaning something up. I use this stuff all the time. I do use a lot of Eastwood products, but that's more when I do a lot more prep and whatnot. But yeah. So on the inside, here it is. I'll try to get a shot in the sun so that you can see it's pretty decent coverage. Like I said, I got the inside of this way better than I thought I was. All that rubberized coating is gone. The only thing left here is just the pitting that you would see from, like, you know, rusted metal and whatnot. So another thing I just thought about is I was thinking about actually taking my rotary tool, Dremel, whatever you want to call it, and elongating these slots a little more, or at least toward the direction I need. But I'm not going to jump the gun just yet, because for the 4L80Es, I've noticed some people be able to get away with sliding this back a bit. And I did hear one guy, actually Piss Cutter Performance, he did it to his OBS truck, and all he did was slide it back a little bit just to give it a little extra room, and the 4L80 was able to fit. But I'm not going to do that now. We'll see how it goes later on. I'm just going to finish painting this thing up and go from there. Okay, so let it dry in the sun. It's only about like maybe 42 out here, so I mean, I'm not expecting much, but it's going to have plenty of time to dry. Going to bring it in the house, hopefully help it cure as well. And that's it, last piece. All right, guys, so that's it. All three pieces, or at least in my case, all three pieces are done. This thing's been cleaned up, wire wheeled, acetone, painted, hit with multiple coats, drying, good to go. Then we have the rear portion of the drive shaft. Got the correct U-joint in the back. Got the clips in there to center it inside the rear diff. Clips are in on each side. Then down to the other end. Same thing over here. Proper U-joint in here. This U-joint, like I said before, and this one at the front of the front portion of the drive shaft are both the same U-joint. Got the clips in place. This thing, just cleaned it out, cleaned it off. Did get the part number for it though, just in case. But still in pretty decent condition. Got the Zerk fitting on there for the grease, and here's this thing. This is on. Made my own tool. You guys saw how that played out pretty well. Cleaned this up, gave it a good pattern here with some Scotch-Brite or a scuff pad and some penetrating fluid. And yeah, that's it. Last but not least, here's the new slip yoke that goes in for the front. Cleaned that up straight out of the box, painted it, and it's good to go. So that's it. Next time you guys see this stuff, it'll be installed, good to go, and making some hits and trying to put some power to it. Yeah, but that's it. Do it yourself, man. Do it yourself. Well, whatever you can. I'm starting to run out of time. I'm honestly not sure how much longer I'm going to be able to do some of this stuff the way that I do it. But I'm going to keep pushing, and that's it. So I'll see you on the next one. Peace.